Welcome into Tapping Vegas, brought to you by Better and Green. And today we're breaking down UFC what, Bobby?
316. 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, 1.
And we are celebrating by giving away a signed pair of Merab Dvalishvili signed fight shorts. And all you guys have to do is comment down on this video a method win of one of the fighters on the card. It's not to be one of the 5 that we break down. We break down 5 every single week, every single card for you guys, with 5 plays that we think can win you guys some money. Make sure you guys just give us anybody on this card and the method that you think that they're going to win. Bobby, let's get into it, man. Take this first fight away.
Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Look, folks, it's not 2020 anymore, and thank God it's not. All right, both of these guys, shadows of their former selves. I get it, but in this fight, there's only one man that's just completely washed, and one man that might still have at least a quarter tank left. And the man with a quarter tank is Kevin Holland. And here's the reason why I believe Kevin Holland's the man still, or at least in this fight he is, for damn sure. Holland, clearly taller, clearly has a longer reach. Let's start there. Nasty Darce's underutilized ground game does his best work when he can play Matador. What I mean by that is when guys come forward on him, like the Joaquin Buckley fight, that's how he basically walked Joaquin Buckley right onto a counter. Joaquin Buckley was reckless, charging in, trying to tee off. You know, Kevin Holland just kept him right at the end of his long-ass range, used that height and that reach, and just picked him right off. That's what he's going to do to Vicente Luque. If Vicente Luque plays it safe, he's going to lose for the reasons that I've just discussed. He's just going to get picked apart at distance, and it's just going to be pitter-patter, you know, Holland controlling the distance, controlling the timing, controlling where the fight takes place, and he's just going to absolutely pick him apart. If he tries to be active and if he tries to be engaged, he's just going to walk right onto a KO just so easy. He's just going to get destroyed. I mean, that's how Kevin Holland likes it. He likes guys that come forward walking into his punches. Has a good use of leg kicks. He feints the leg kick to connect with a punch and a leaping motion, which is how he knocked out Cowboy Alex Oliveira. Kind of like almost like a little pick up the leg and then use that momentum to carry you forward right into a punch, like Masvidal also did against Cowboy Cerrone. So 2 Cowboys got killed off that. Call it Marlboro Red. Elbows off the clinch like he did against Anthony Hernandez. Very vicious there in clinch situations. Really like that. Knees to the body. Really great stuff that Kevin Holland does, right? Vicente Luque, he's going to have to make it an RDA-style fight to have a shot, right? His fight against RDA was absolutely boring, but he won, right? He walled and stalled. He managed to get a takedown, do just enough to point fight, right? He's going to have to be that boring because if he even tries to engage with Kevin Holland, he's going to get destroyed. And he's not good enough at managing distance and being elusive enough to be able to, like, avoid the punches that Kevin's going to be throwing at him, right? Like, that's how MVP won, because MVP is just really masterful and mobile, right? He's a master of movement. He's able to just slip out, just get you angry. It's not Luque, especially not at this stage of his career with all the mileage, with all the health concerns, the brain bleed issue he had not that long ago. I mean, look how bad he looked against Buckley, right? Like, he just looked terrible against Buckley to the point where people were accusing him of throwing the fight. I don't see how people are just – I think people are just living in the past, and it's the nostalgia of what Luque used to be, and I get it because I was a big Luque fan, and I'm a big fan of both guys. They're both entertaining guys. This is a fun fight. It's a good matchup. It's very fair to both of them. But I just don't see how you're still thinking Luque has any chance in this fight, especially by like a finish like I'm seeing some people suggest. I do not see it at all. I don't get it. Luque at plus 220, Holland at minus 270. Agree with the money line 100%. Unfortunately, you're not getting much with Kevin Holland off that, but, I mean, it is what it is, man. KO TKO plus 130. Sub is always tantalizing for Kevin Holland at plus 550. Might come back to it later, but I mean, for now, I'm just going to go Holland money line. How do you see this?
I think Vegas is very sneaky, very, very tricky this week, and especially when you're looking at the betting percentages. Right now, 63% of the bets on Holland, only 44% of the money, and I think we're going to see a lot of that this week. We're seeing a lot of people, especially this fight, like Luque, he's a very good fighter, or I should say was a really good fighter. He's just not the same guy he used to be, right? And this isn't trying to take anything away from Luque. It's just he's not the same guy he was a couple years ago. And so we're seeing these odds, a 2-1 underdog. You can get plus 220 on him. So we're seeing a lot of sharp movement there, and we're going to see some sharp movement today on some of these dogs. And we'll get into a little bit more of that later, but it's just not enough for me. So 63%, it's like, all right, it's a public side. 44% of the money at minus 270. That's the Vegas side too. So I'm fine right here with Kevin Holland at that price. I'm fine with Kevin Holland on the money line. I don't really want to take it down to like any type of method for him. But I will say, like right now they look at the screen, they're saying that all the stats are green for Luque. Guys, I just want you to remember that these are career stats. These are not just like your last fight. So this is a compilation. Luque was great, really good years ago. Like I said, one of my favorite fighters. But unfortunately, I think that people might be seeing that on paper, remembering the name, seeing him at that, that price, and saying, Kevin Holland's not that good. Like I remember a bunch of losses lately. He's lost to a lot of good guys. So I'm with you, Bobby. I'm on Holland on the money line. A little bit of a nasty number. You're almost having to pay 3-1, but we'd rather get paid out that little bit than lose what you put in, right?
Right.
All right, man. Let's talk about this next fight. Interesting one, man. I've been seeing Patchy makes it like every Apex card, every UFC event for the last few weeks, it feels like. They always show him a couple times on camera, really hyping this fight up. This is, me and Bobby were talking about, this might be the hardest one. It's between last one and this one as the hardest ones on the card for me personally. Both same age, reaching on a huge factor, both 5-0 in their last 5. This was my thought process coming in, okay? Is that Bautista was a dude that they're going to see that he just beat Jose Aldo. They're going to see he's been in the UFC. He has that UFC experience. And now they're getting him at plus money odds. And I thought that was going to put a lot of people on Bautista. And so that's why I was really afraid of him. But then we get to today, 27% of the bets, 19% of the money. So we're seeing actually sharp money coming in on mix, which, spoiler alert, that is the only time that we see sharp money on a favorite of the 5 fights that we're talking about. So that was a little interesting to me there, because people are not liking the odds on this card, but maybe it's just because the odds are closer on this one. Probably so. Patchy Mix is a lot of hype coming in. I just feel like I bet on Jose Aldo against Bautista, and I felt like Jose Aldo should have won it. I felt like it was stolen by Bautista. Once again, just one of those guys. It felt like he got outclassed, but he got the win. But I'm trying not to be bitter about that. I think I'd rather see the mix side in this fight. Just he's coming in, and a lot of these guys, you can go just as fast as you get in. And so he might, if he doesn't do good here, possibly you get one more chance. And if you don't win that one, you're out. Or he looks really bad here, and that's the end of the road. So I'm going to take Patchy Mix here. I'll just take him on the money line. I don't love anything. You might talk me off of him by the time you're done, but I just kind of feel like I'd rather have the unknown in mix than what the underwhelming performance I saw from Bautista.
Yeah, this one is definitely the hardest fight for me on this entire card. What concerns me about Bautista is it seems to me like he bends forward at the waist on his takedowns, Ben Askren style. Really not a fan of that because Patchy Mix throws a lot of knees. This is a recipe for disaster for Bautista because he also in that Jose Aldo fight was trying to catch leg kicks and catch knees and turn those into takedown attempts. And that is a very dangerous game to play with Patchy Mix, who uses so many leg kicks and body kicks in his fights and flying knees. So it makes me wonder if Patchy Mix could potentially time that and catch him with a flying knee. Even if he gets those takedowns, Mix is extremely dangerous on the ground. Magomedov was a really great grappler and wrestler and just got absolutely put to sleep by Patchy Mix. Just caught in a vicious guillotine. Mix has a nasty guillotine that actually succeeds when he goes after it. So here's the main thing for me. If this is a grappling match and Bautista's crazy enough to grapple with Mix, he's going to get subbed easy. He's just absolutely going to get brutalized. His best chance is to keep it standing because that's where I am just not impressed by Mix at all. His striking is his most concerning weakness is definitely his striking, in my humble opinion. So if it's standing, I definitely give the edge to Bautista. This is hard, and then you got Mix is coming off a year-long layoff, right? So are you going to be a person that looks at that as a good thing, and it's good for him to be able to, heal up and rest and recuperate? Or are you going to take the approach of, okay, this is now ring rust, and he has to shake off the rust? I mean, he's only 31. It's insane. It's just insane. Patchy Mix is, a guy who's done a lot in Bellator, right? He's a guy who, has been at the high level of that organization, but is it as high level as the UFC we've seen in the past?
Right.
Not necessarily, right? So, I mean, Mario Bautista, yeah, the Jose Aldo fight's nothing to write home about, right? Like everybody at this point in their career should be able to beat Jose Aldo. These guys are the same age. They're both young. They're both 31. It's so tough, man. Like, I wonder seeing the 3 UFC subs that he has over Guido, over Benito, over Kelleher, if that's going to give him false confidence. I wonder if that's going to make him a little bit cocky. I wonder if that's going to make him feel like he's got something to prove. And if he does, that is just going to bite him in the ass, I feel like. Let me see what I'm getting mixed sub at. Mixed sub is plus 240. That's interesting. The other problem is this is a 3-round fight. That's the other problem. If this was a 5-rounder, I definitely would be more eager to play mixed sub. But, damn, this is the toughest fight, man. You got 73% of bets on Mix, 27 on Bautista, so it's not like they're going to have to pay out anything crazy because Bautista's a plus 154. I'll go Bautista just because he's the only dog on this card that we're covering that I can see actually playing out. It's just too much of a coin toss for me.
I don't. If you're going to have to take a dog of the ones we're talking about, that's one I'd take too. So I like it, right? Man. I like it. Let's get into talking about some bigger boys, man. Take it away.
Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe gelled up my transplant Pyfer. Man, that was just bizarre seeing that man's transplant up there all shimmering and whatnot like a wet otter on a San Francisco morning in the Bay. It was just bizarre. Anyway, shout out to hair transplants. Use code BETTERGREEN when you go to Turkey. All right. Pyfer used to grapple more before the UFC. Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. What happened? Why did he stop grappling before the UFC? Don't really understand that. It's nothing crazy, just some good fundamentals. Leg trip, leg kick, leg sweep. Nice little suplex. Then he would step over the guard, pass, do some ground and pound, clinch, get body lock, leg sweep, then ground and pound, heavy hands. Stuff like that. It was cool. Haven't really seen too much of that since he's been in the UFC. He was on the receiving end on his first Contender Series bid against Stoltzfus. We covered not that long ago.
Yeah. When
Stoltzfus broke his arm when he posted the wrong way, getting slammed. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting. We haven't seen too much of offensive grappling from Pyfer since then. But anyway, what I like about this is he's teammates with Sean Brady, right? Him and Sean Brady are buds. They have a podcast together. They train together, all that fun stuff. Look at what Brady did. If one Sean Brady can take a mini fridge and just recycle that mini fridge and just put it out to pasture at the recycling center, what do you think Joe Pyfer with a fresh hair transplant's going to do and all that confidence that comes with it? That fridge is getting raided. That's what's going to happen, all right? Kelvin just doesn't have it anymore, man. He just doesn't have it. He's He's constantly his whole career. Oh, I want to be at welterweight. Oh, I'm not disciplined enough. Let me go back to middle. Then I'm back to welter. And now he's at middle again. And it's like he just doesn't have a home. He just doesn't know where he fits. He just doesn't have the discipline to see anything through. He just doesn't have dedication. And he's just kind of at the tail end of his career. He's just one of the biggest what ifs in MMA, right? Like, what if this guy actually took a diet serious? What if he actually took training serious? And we saw that his biggest moment was still a loss, and that sucks. His biggest moment, his most defining career moment, in my humble opinion, was probably the Israel Adesanya fight, right? Like when he really just went out there, and you could just tell the man put his heart, soul, and bones out there and just gave it his all. And unfortunately, he still came up short. And I get that that's probably very demoralizing, and that probably plays a role in it, but it just further proves my point. I just don't think he should be fighting anymore. At this point, it almost feels like he's one of those fighters that just does it because he has to have a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
It's just for the very small amount of money that he gets. And I just think Pyfer, he's just too heavy-handed. He's too hungry. He still has something to prove. Like I said, his whole team and his coaches have already game planned extensively for Kelvin. They know what to do against Kelvin. They already have a guy that has the blueprint on how to beat him. Sean Brady just battered the man until he finally gave him the mercy kill in round 3 with the Kimura. I mean, his last win in his last 5 fights, his most recent win was Daniel Rodriguez. That's nothing to write home about. And he beat Chris Curtis. That's nothing to write home about. But before that, he's lost to Whitaker, Cannonier, Brady. Before that, he only beat Ian Heinisch, who isn't even in the UFC anymore, and he was on a 3-fight skid then. The man is just – he's in a bad spot. And it sucks because Kelvin is always a guy who is fun, you know, when he beat Tim Kennedy. Fun fight, right? When he went to war with him, when he beat Johnny Hendricks, when he beat Nate Marquardt, Jake Ellenberger. He just doesn't have it anymore. Pyfer's just too heavy-handed. The grappling is there if he needs it. The blueprint's just there, man. It just seems almost like a foregone conclusion. Gastelum's only 33. You would think he's 40. 19-9. It's sad. His nipples are protruding through his shirt at this point. It's very disrespectful. It's just sad. What do you think?
I think that we were already supposed to have this fight earlier this year. So they've had a lot of time to prepare for each other. There's been a lot of time for Pyfer to watch enough tape, get with his boys, and come up with a good game plan. My only concern, Bobby, is we just saw last week a fight fall through because of, how should I say this, cosmetic upgrades. Are we worried that might happen to Pyfer as well?
He better shave that shit if that's the case. I know you just got it, buddy, but you better shave it.
At least his chesticles are real. So
Right.
we don't have to worry about him falling through for that. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going to take Pyfer with a KO. I just think he outclasses Gastelum at this point in his career. He's too strong. And at this point, like you were saying, Gastelum's just not, I don't know what the word is, but disciplined, I think you were saying. I think that's probably the right word there. He's just not disciplined enough, and Pyfer wants it. He's hungry, man. And it sounds weird, but doesn't it kind of feel like that loss that he had? I forget the guy's name, though. The vet. Pyfer's loss in the Apex.
Let me look it up right quick. I know what you're talking about, though, because he's like, I wasn't
Jack
fraud
Hermanson.
checked. Yeah, there we go, that fella.
Yes, yeah. I feel like that's actually probably a good thing for Pyfer's career because he's looked better. I think it made him hungrier. I think it also humbled might not. I feel like these aren't the right words. So because I'm not trying to disrespect Pyfer, but I feel like he was like, man, maybe I need to get back in the gym, keep working because I'm just not quite there with these other guys yet. So I think he's been working hard. He's been working with the right guys. Gastelum, I'm sorry, man. Is over. End of the line. I think he still fights for a little bit longer, but Pyfer might be like the last. I wouldn't say Pyfer's a big name, but last like real hyped up match. We might be seeing him against much lesser opponents going forward.
Yeah, if you're taking Pyfer KO, I'm going to take Pyfer sub just in case he does what he does. Does what he did to Razak Al Hassan, where he like rocked them, dropped them, and then chose to sub them. I'm gonna
Club and
also,
sub.
yeah, I'm also gonna go for sub then. And then if it's a decision, then who the hell cares? Whatever. It's just not meant to be. But
What are those odds for that?
so if you go KO TKO, it's plus
Mhm.
250. Sub
Okay.
is plus 330.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
you got
So I'm guessing.
87% of, huh?
I'm just guessing that for both of them, the double method's probably close to even money, then, isn't it?
Let's
KO
see.
sub. Yeah, plus 120. I'll stay with
Yeah.
the KO.
Yeah, and I'll just do straight sub, and then whatever. If it's a decision, it is. You got 87% of bets on Pyfer. Don't blame them. 13% on Gastelum. Pretty accurate. Gastelum's a plus 300 money line. Accurate. Minus 380 for Pyfer. Got to take the edge off somehow.
Yeah. And we're looking at this too. Pyfer, 74% of the money, although he gets 87% of the bets, 26% of the money for Kelvin Gastelum. So 2 times the percentage of bets he has with money. But once again, he's the dog. He's the dog. He's been around longer. People think that, there's some value there, which there's always value taking the dog, right? But just don't feel like that's the right side here. So not concerned about those betting percentages at all. Let's get to the first of our 2 championship fights. We have Julianna Pena versus Kayla Harrison. And Bobby, I believe like in Olympic boxing now, they do a lot of testing to make sure if you're a lady, you truly are a lady. I'm going to say this. I think if this fight was just based purely on who has more testosterone, Kayla Harrison's winning. Because she's a brute, dude. And I have loved Kayla Harrison for so long. I'm so happy she's in the UFC. And I can't back down. I've been saying this literally since her first fight in the UFC. I said she's just going to win every fight up to the belt and then just win the belt. She's just going to run through it. I thought maybe after her first fight, she could have fought for the belt. Like literally right away. Maybe she could have even came in, fought for the belt, her first fight in the UFC. I just think she's that good. She's that strong. Now we get to see her in action, and her line is just moving like crazy. She was minus 650 on either Tuesday or Wednesday night. Now she's minus 750. So she's already moved another 100 points betting wise. Seeing 74% of the bets on her, 28% of the money. Vegas is in love with that. That's the public side, but all the money's pouring on Pena, which makes sense, right? She's a reigning champ. You get her at 5-1 underdog odds. Yeah, everybody wants to jump in on that. 26% of bets, 72% of money. It's Kayla Harrison, though. What, judo Olympic champ? Like, Harrison's just so strong. She's so good in so many different areas of MMA. And then also with Harrison, I guess, I don't want to say I guess. I think this is what I've been hearing a lot on social media and on YouTube and whatnot. Everybody's just worried about Harrison gassing out. But it's like, oh, okay, that's your only concern about this fight. That's not enough for me not to take someone. If you're just saying, you know what, Pena's going to get her ass kicked, but she's not going to be as tired the last 2 rounds, and then she can win those 2. She just has to win one of the first 3. That's horrible. That's like a horrible way to think about it, in my opinion. Maybe, okay, she weathers the storm, but nobody's thinking Pena is going to get the finish, so she just has to get beat up, but still win 3 of the 5 rounds. It's not making sense in my head, man. Like, where they're thinking Pena's going to win this, because she's not going to win it if it goes to the ground. It's going to have to be a striking match, but she's going to have to keep Kayla Harrison off of her. Not allow any of these takedowns, and still be like dealing some pretty good damage throughout the fight. I don't think she can do it. I said Harrison the first time she fights for the belt, she's going to win it. I'm going to stick with it, man. I pick Kayla Harrison every single time. This is the hard part. How do you take Kayla Harrison at minus 750, right? How do you pay that off? Let's see any of the methods. Like I said, the only concern is about, especially because she has all that extra muscle, and your muscle burns up more oxygen. You're going to get gassed faster than Pena, and now you're fighting in a 5-round fight. Harrison by decision plus 215. But then once again, you're going like if you take Harrison by decision, you're going head to head against that. Like instead of just if you say Harrison money line, it's like okay, anything can happen. But that way you're like really testing the limits of Harrison if it does go the way that everybody's just completely wrong. Harrison by submission plus 140. I think that is probably the most likely here. And then KO plus 300. What about submission decision? Submission decision minus 165. No, that's KO decision. Submission decision minus 280. So we're taking KO out. I don't think Harrison knocks her out, right?
I don't know,
this
man.
is hard. This is hard. I guess I'm going to listen to what you say before I make my final pick because there's just no way to get value on this fight. And that's exactly what Vegas does. That's exactly what they want. So I feel like Harrison's the right side. We just need to not be stupid and blow it. So what do you think, Bobby?
What's Kayla Harrison, an Olympic gold medalist then? Would you say it was?
I believe judo.
Dude, don't make me go Dave Portnoy on you. That's anti-Semitic, bro. It's anti-Semitic. Very anti-Semitic, dude.
That judo?
Anyway, this is how confident I am in Kayla Harrison winning. If Julianna Pena wins this fight and beats Kayla Harrison this Saturday, on the next episode of Tapping Vegas, I will recite a poem I came up with myself, simping for Julianna Pena and declaring the waifu. That's how confident I am. That's how confident I am. If Julianna Pena wins, I will write a poem and recite it on the show next week.
He brought it.
Because I just do not see it. I don't see a world. Call me Stevie because I'm wondering how the hell she will win this fight. She went to a split decision with Raquel Pennington last October. A fucking split decision with Raquel Pennington. The only person going to a split decision and tapping out to Raquel Pennington damn near should be her wife. Shouldn't be anybody fighting her in the year of our Lord 2024. All right? Kayla Harrison is explosive. She blows up. I just talked to you today about the high kick right into a takedown transition she had against Vieira and how lightning fast that was, how Hamzat Chimaev favors a similar setup for his takedown attempts. Insane reaction time, insane speed, insane, absolutely wild. Pena gets swept and off balance easily. She cannot rely on her grappling to save her in bad situations. There were moments in that first Nunes fight where it looked like she was kind of leaning on her grappling, like when Nunes dropped her, to try to get herself a little bit of space to kind of wrap her up, get the cobwebs cleared. She cannot do that with Kayla Harrison. It will be a disaster. She gives up her back. She gets out muscled. All these things that happened in that first Nunes fight, and I know how it ended because you're like, well, how did it end? Yeah, she won that one. But it was just so lucky that she did. So lucky that she did. Her only chance is to hope to get that lucky again in a striking exchange because that is the biggest area of concern with Kayla Harrison is she's not terrible for a wrestler, grappler, judo player, but she's damn sure not the best. It's her weakest area. But then again, neither is Pena. Neither is Pena either. So as long as she's smart, yes, it is a little concerning, right, that it's 5 rounds. But, I mean, we're talking about an Olympian. We're talking about somebody that should have exceptional conditioning, right? Mm-hmm. So I think she should be fine. I think she can definitely just however she wants this fight to go is how this fight's going to go. And before the Pennington fight, it was 2 years before we saw Pena again. She took a 2-year layoff. So once again, do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a bad thing? Does it result in rust or does it result in time to heal and recuperate? I just don't think it matters at this point, right? So you lost the rematch to Amanda Nunes. And you lost it handily. It was a unanimous decision. You took 2 years off, and in 2 years, you managed a split decision against Raquel Pennington. How unceremonious. How lackadaisical. How lackluster. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just think Kayla Harrison's the better fighter, better everywhere. Just I cannot, like I said, see
Agreed.
a world where Pena wins to the point where I'm willing to recite poetry.
Are you taking a method, or how are you attacking this?
Homicide,
Homicide.
premeditated murder, ripping her limb from limb.
Via manslaughter.
Yeah. No, it's not manslaughter. This was premeditated and planned. This is first
Okay, no, you're
degree.
right. You're right. You're
She
right.
should get the chair for this. That's how heinous it's gonna be. She should get the chair for this.
Are we gonna do you want to do KO sub at -165?
Sure, why not? You're not gonna get anything better.
Okay. All right, I'll do it with you. I'll do it with you. All right, hey, let's go to the main fight, man. Rematch.
Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean Sugar Show O'Malley, dude, brah. Yeah, another fight. I don't really see how this goes any differently, right? Rematches always have a little bit of intrigue. Sometimes, statistically, if you're one of those nerds, first off, get your head out of the toilet because I'm swirling you. Statistically speaking, sometimes rematches don't necessarily go the way they did the first time, right? Who knows why? I'm not a math magician. Here's my thing. The whole conversation around this fight that I've been seeing and hearing is Sean's locked in, dude. He's razor focused. He's not gooning. He's not smoking pot anymore. He's actually being a dad. He's actually spending time with his kids. Great. Wonderful. Grand even. I don't care. Because my problem, honestly, with Sean O'Malley, and I said this when we covered the Cheeto Vera rematch, my problem with Sean O'Malley was honestly never his mindset. I actually, in that episode, talked about how I gave him credit for not being as immature as I thought he was, and like as the image that he projects. He actually is a guy that when you watch his YouTube and you watch Tim Welch's YouTube, they're actually very intelligent guys. They have
Yeah.
plans, right? They like, do the sauna and they roll out and foam roll and stretch and journal. And like Sean O'Malley even hired a driver because he like was so locked in on his schedule and routine and like training and preparation that instead of, wasting time back and forth driving somewhere, he wanted to use that time while he was in like the limo or whatever to, use the massage gun, stretch out, watch tape, etc. So he's like that dedicated that it's even down to, okay, this isn't a very long drive. We're looking at maybe 43 minutes on the road, round trip, but how can I maximize my time? So I'm not really buying it that he wasn't focused coming into the fight. Maybe it's one of those things for him that it's going to make a big difference to him mentally to say that because of how bad of a performance he put on. Maybe that's going to be something that helps him is like, oh, well, I wasn't focused. But like as an outsider looking in, I have to give him credit. I think he's always been focused. So I don't know how you can be more prepared than the things he was already doing in previous fights. Like the fight before, he was that locked in. So I don't know. I don't really put too much stock into the whole weed thing. Who gives a shit? It was fine for him before. My main problem is when you have your coach in your corner saying it's almost over. I'm not trying to be an armchair psychologist or whatever, man, but that's pretty bad. That's pretty telling when like your coach is having to try to motivate you. That's like some Leon Edwards shit. And that's very concerning. Very concerning. I've always thought that he's been focused though. Also, another thing, he's like, oh, I had like, I think a hip injury or something, right? This is MMA, man. Nobody's ever 100%. Everybody will tell you it's their best camp ever. Everybody will tell you they feel like $1,000,000, but everybody comes into a fight with something. I think Merab came into that fight with like a back injury. Like, I don't think the hip injury is the thing. The problem is I've grown to respect and like Sean O'Malley a little more than I first did, right? I really like Alex Pereira. I see a lot of similarity between those two, and that my biggest thing with Alex Pereira was always, how's he going to do once he faces a grappler? It kind of felt like he was being shielded from grapplers. What happened the first time he faced one? Magomed Ankalaev, he lost. It felt that way with Sean O'Malley. It felt like I can be unbiased and say with both of those guys, they were kind of being shielded from grapplers. And what happens when you face an aggressive grappler the first time? You get taken down, you don't get up, and you lose. And it's just assuming all these things that are so statistically unlikely. You're assuming that the mental thing's taken over and it's going to help him. You're assuming that he is 100% recovered from an injury. And you're also assuming in the course of another, 12-week or so fight camp that he's magically gotten 100% takedown defense. And I'm just assuming, right? Let's say he does. Let's say he's drastically improved his takedown defense between first fight and now, and he's prepared for it and has a perfect game plan. It doesn't matter against Merab Dvalishvili. How many takedowns did Peter Yan defend? 7 out of 8 at one point when I was watching tape. 7 out of 8 didn't matter. It doesn't matter if you defend 9 out of 10, 10 out of 11. All he needs is one. And he has cardio for 5 rounds. 5 rounds at elevation. This isn't at elevation, but even at 7,000 feet above elevation, it doesn't matter. And I just don't think that it's going to make a difference. This is another fight where, yes, Sean and his team have had a lot of opportunity to game plan for guys from that camp between the Aljo fight and the first Merab fight. But Merab and his camp have also had a lot of time to game plan for Sean. And I just don't see a world other than a knockout where Sean gets it. And it's just, is it possible? Of course. It's always possible with Sean O'Malley that he gets a knockout. It's always, always possible. But it's just the deck is just so stacked against him. And I don't think anything he's changed is going to be significant enough to make a difference. Merab is just too dogged in his determination, and he's just too relentless. And I mean, he managed to avoid, the strikes of Umar and everything and negate that. I just don't see a world where Sean just gets the belt back, unfortunately. I think he's just kind of like Pereira, where the UFC just kind of did both of them a disservice and let them get to the upper echelons, and it's just really kind of negatively affected their careers now. And so they're kind of at a crossroads where do I go from here, right? Like I can't necessarily keep just getting these cherry-picked matchups for a variety of reasons, right? Everybody would like to, but then fan backlash, are you personally happy with your career at that point? Other than the knockout, I just can't see it, man. I mean, obviously he's clearly the better striker, clearly has the height, clearly has the reach advantage, flashy guy, but it means nothing when you're on your back. It means nothing when you're pushed up against the fence. It means nothing when you're tied up in the clinch. I mean, what do you think?
Can I say that I think that there's a chance Merab wins this one even more emphatically? Because
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're watching that one, and me and Bobby, we were together watching this fight. I believe this was UFC Noche when we saw this one, this match for the first time. Sean, it didn't look to me like in between rounds and during the rounds that it was a hip problem. And he's never really blamed it on his hip problem. He's just said afterwards, he's like, I had a hip problem. But he said, I've had a good camp. I just got there and I just don't know what happened. And it's like, what happened is you ran into a Merab. You got there. Everything was fine. The lead up was fine. He was looking around. He was enjoying it, really taking it in. But once again, we talked about this with Patrick a little bit. I believe it was still in that episode. Is that like you can take somebody's spirit? You remember us talking about that with Patrick?
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you measure that? That's what Merab, it felt like he did to O'Malley. Because it just seemed at one point in the third, fourth, fifth rounds, he was just frustrated, man. He's just like, there's nothing I can do to this guy. Like, I'm just going to end up on the ground, and there's nothing I could do about it. He was just ready for it to be over. Tim Welch saying, like, we got one more round, man. We're almost done. Like, let's get out of here. He sucked the soul out of the team. Is how bad. And I know if you're looking at it from the scorecards and stuff, might say like, oh, it's a pretty close fight. This might be a lot closer than people remember it being. It's like, watch it again though. Watch it. Watch the morale of Sean. Watch the morale of his team. They all know that this fight's not going their way. And like you said, Merab or O'Malley could catch him with a punch. But I think what's more likely is that they watch that and they say, we're not going to win this if you spend the entire fight on the ground with Merab on your back. Like, and you're just fighting. You're just fighting to get up again. So what does that do? You are more focused on your defense, right? They probably are doing a lot of drills and stuff, making sure that they don't get, maybe they're like, be against the wall so you can use the wall for support, or, do this, do that. That's not moving forward and attacking. So if he is not, instead of throwing these punches like he was in the last round, maybe he's a little more hesitant and he's ready to block a shot or something. I think that plays, unfortunately, right even more into Merab, because like you said, he's going to keep coming. He's going to keep coming. He's going to get it eventually. And if Sean's not throwing because he's trying to make sure he's limiting the number of takedowns at times he's down, that spells trouble, man. That spells a lot of trouble. So I am very nervous for O'Malley. And like you, I didn't know a ton about him before the fight. Like, personally, I didn't know about his personal life a ton. But the more stuff I've been watching stuff, you really start to like the guy. It's just, you start coming around. But Merab, we just haven't seen a guy with the cardio like that. You say like he's built for 5 rounds. Merab's built for 7, 8 rounds. Like, the dude's insane. Right. He was still going hard in the 5th when Sean was just ready to hit the showers. And like, he was still going. We saw it with Umar too. He breaks these guys' spirits, man. He breaks them down like in their head, and then the rest of the fight is just, the fight just has to end. The clock's ticking, and he's in the cage. But I mean, if Merab had more finishing power, I can't even imagine how dangerous that guy would be. And we're seeing the money right now, 56% of bets on Merab. Okay, so it's the very public side, 19% of the money. So Vegas is begging this hits. 19% of the money at minus 285, 81% of the money on Sean O'Malley with 44% of the bets at plus 230. They don't want to pay that. O'Malley, when you're talking to a guy at the Fantasy Expo, it's like, hey, O'Malley made me a lot of money. O'Malley wasn't fighting grapplers.
Right. And O'Malley was always the favorite. Like,
right.
This is the first fight probably in his whole UFC career. Because I think even in the first fight, we still got Merab at like underdog odds, which is fucking insane.
Bro, so if not, it's close to a pick 'em.
Yeah, so this is only probably the first fight in Sean O'Malley's entire UFC career where he's ever been the underdog. And another thing I just thought of was, even when Merab got very careless and reckless and turned away and just walked away from O'Malley before the round was even over, O'Malley couldn't even knock him out with like a back of the head punch. So how disconcerting to your spirit does that have to be that you couldn't even like get a punch around the back of the head of the dude and knock him out? It's insane.
It's because the dude's diving head first and just ponds of ice and cracking his head open, and he just walks around like, oh, oops, that happened, while he's got blood coming down. Before we get into Haymaker, Bobby, I forgot to mention the betting percentages for the Kayla Harrison Pena fight. I believe I did, because I was talking about people putting extra money on the underdogs to get that value. 74% of bets on Kayla Harrison, 28% of the money. 28% of the money at minus 750. Vegas will pay that out every single day of the week. They did not. They're not paying out. Once again, Pena 26% of bets, 72% of the money at plus 525 in a championship fight. No.
Hell no.
Nope. So I just wanted to throw that in there too, just to further back what me and Bobby are saying about Kayla Harrison. Unfortunately, the odds suck, guys, but Vegas isn't in the business to make you money. They're in the business to make themselves money. So they're giving you terrible odds for that reason. Bobby, what are you thinking for Haymaker, man?
Man, you kind of got me onto something with saying, what if Merab finishes him even more emphatically, right? What if he makes a statement? What if he had finishing power, how dangerous he would be?
Uh-oh.
Kind of got me eyeballing Merab sub at plus 900.
Okay.
That's almost tantalizing.
Yeah, he's going to get him on the ground.
Right, because you're not really getting anything else crazy from this fight, man. Like, from these fights. Like, let's see about Gastelum Pyfer.
I'm a Pyfer KOs plus 250, subs plus 330.
Oh, yeah, and we already took that anyway.
Yeah.
So we already both, took a method on that. That's the only way you're getting something.
So you'd just be looking at the Luque Holland. Holland by subs plus 550.
And that's not bad because he's got that nasty Darce. Plus 550 sub. KO TKO's only plus 130. You know what?
I'm fine going wherever.
Yeah. I'll take Merab plus 900 sub. I like that little crazy bastard, and he's been good to me. To offset the fact that I can't keep Robin Vegas like we have been by getting him at underdog odds on money line, for old time's sake, I'll ride with my little buddy on plus 900 sub. He's been good to us.
Okay, man. I like it. We got a loaded June, man. Did you see this June slate for the UFC? We got this fight, this card this weekend. Then we have Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley next week. And then Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree the next week. And then UFC 317 to end June. And we are going to have our man Shitty Cat on for UFC 317. So make sure you guys tune in. Tune in, man. And before we get out of here, Bobby, just one more time. Give us a method and who wins in their fight, any of the fights from this card, UFC 316. And we're going to ship you, free of charge, just give you guys these Merab Dvalishvili fight shorts.
Signed, auction shorts, right? Official.
Yes. It's got the
certificates.
What's it called? Yes. Yeah, right those? Here. A witnessed autograph. Here. Throw it up there.
All right. There we go.
You can see the sticker.
Is real, folks. These are not shorts that I've just been wearing around the house. All right. This is real, authentic Merab Dvalishvili fight shorts. Okay.
So, guys, get in on this. Yes, get in on this while you can. Guys, we'll see you next week. And make sure you guys subscribe too. We might have more giveaways. Oh, I say we might, like we don't have giveaways throughout the year, every single year. But we will have more giveaways, guys. And we got some big stuff coming out. Better and Green might be moving a little bit more towards like the streaming side of content creation. Once we start getting into the football season, we have all these other shows start coming out, so we might make some adjustments there, but it'll still be the same type of show. Me and Bobby. We'll see you guys next week. Peace, guys.
Peace.